Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to another episode of Dan Tony Sports. My name is Dan Snyder, joined tonight by Tony Casper and Dan Beebe. How are you guys doing?
Great.
What's up?
I'm sure we're all doing pretty good, but not as good as our good friend Dan O'Shea. He's on vacation this week, and even better than being on vacation, he, in his words, he liked it, so he put a ring on it. Congratulations to Dan O'Shea for getting engaged.
Congratulations, you lucky SOB. Miss you, though. Get back here. I need to berate you in your opinions.
Yeah. Yes, especially because NFL's coming up.
It's August. It's August. Get excited. Football is coming.
2 days.
Yes.
2 days.
Yes.
Cowboys play the Cardinals on Thursday.
Yes, but also college football's first games will kick off in August. This is football time. This is the time where you do get excited.
And that's exactly why we're doing what we've been doing for this week and the next 4 weeks, breaking down the Power 5 conferences as we get to the kickoff of college football. We've timed it perfectly.
Awesome. This is how it should be, and this is exactly when you should be getting excited about it.
Absolutely. So, without further ado, what do you say we kick off this show? Tonight we're going to talk about weird injuries. We're going to talk about players and contracts. We're going to talk about potential trades. And the meat and potatoes, we're going to talk about the ACC college football season. But first, we have, as always, our pigskin poetry. Blake Bortles is garbage. He's straight up trash. He's stealing his garbage from Hackenberg's stash. This Kaepernick situation just makes my head hurt. But he lost his job to Yo Gabba Gabbert. Back to Bortles, he really does suck. I'd rather rock with an injured Luck. The Jaguars will fix it. They'll find a new guy. They might save Darnold from that team in NY. But what if he's good and turns it around? Do you still send his ass to the Cleveland Browns? Will they watch him play, then give him the shaft? There's so many good QBs in this draft. There's Darnold and Rosen and Allen and Falk and Browning and Mayfield and Rudolph. I'll talk for days and days if only I could. Draft one of these guys because Bortles is no good.
Bortles is in an interesting situation. I mean, I like the poem because Bortles does suck. But Bortles is playing for his career this year. That's the best way I can put it. He's playing for his career. Because his career is either going to fizzle out and be something to be forgotten, or he's going to show his value this year. One of two things. So Bortles might be one of the few quarterbacks in this year that's in a really do or die situation for him going forward. He's either going to be potentially a starter on another team or stay with Jacksonville, or he's going to become another David Carr.
No, I don't think he would ever become like David Carr because I don't think the team is ruining him. I think the team around him is getting better, and he's not. That's what I think is going on in Jacksonville.
Well, that's the biggest concern. I mean, how much talent do you need to put around a guy before he's good? Like, how much? What's enough? What is enough? When is enough to say we've seen and we've given this kid all the opportunities to prove himself that he can play at this level before you cut your losses and look elsewhere? Because, I mean, from my perspective, Khan, the guy that owns the Jaguars, this man's owned European soccer leagues, and it's either win or you're gone. It's a competitive market over there, and I imagine Khan's got to feel the same way here. I mean, he bought this it's got to be like 5 years or 6 years now that he's had it, and I mean, Bortles was one of the first picks they had. That we've got to have something out of him, or we need to get better somewhere else.
And it's not like they're not trying. They clearly are. They brought in, what's his name? Tom Coughlin. And they brought in Doug Marrone, who's a good coach. So they're trying to put pieces around him as both players and staff to make sure that this kid succeeds. It's just the same argument that I have with Andy Dalton. It's hit and that's it. It's not going to get any better. In fact, he's trending down. Whereas Derek Carr was a victim of new team, like entirely new team.
Yeah, I guess the comparison's not fair as far as their careers are concerned. I mean, Bortles has been given every opportunity to succeed. It's just, is he going to actually succeed in pulling that off? It's put up or shut up for Blake Bortles. That's how I feel. That's just the basic. That's the best breakdown I can give. They've given him everything. That wide receiving core is stacked. You have Julius Thomas as your tight end, and you have now Leonard Fournette. You are out of excuses at this point.
You've also got a strong defense. You've also got the Allens.
Well, their defense has always been better on paper than they played on the field. Their defense has not lived up to its potential, and I think that with all the talent that's there in Jacksonville, if it doesn't happen this year, teams should be paying attention to Jacksonville, or they're going to get flat-footed in the next couple of years.
Especially with, like, I just named 7 quarterbacks, and that's not including other quarterbacks that could be taken in the first round, depending on what teams are looking at, like J.T. Barrett. I've heard Trace McSorley's name being a first-round draft pick. No, don't.
Well, yeah, don't do that. I doubt that there is any front office people listening from the NFL, but if you are, do not do that.
If you're going to waste your pick on a Penn State guy, get Saquon Barkley.
If you do have some guy in the front office that picks him, call me, because I could definitely submit a resume.
Exactly. Don't make the Christian Hackenberg choice.
Yeah, don't do Christian Hackenberg 2.0, because it's still going to be riddled with bugs.
I think Trace McSorley will end up getting to the NFL, and I think he could be a decent quarterback, but he's just not ready.
No, he's not ready. He could be a decent quarterback. If I was to guess right now, he's going to make a hell of a clipboard holder.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't know. Maybe something comes out and I see it, but I find it hard to think he's a first-round draft pick. With how many good quarterbacks there are available in this draft, and how many teams realistically need a quarterback, not just want one for the future of their franchise that you can groom, but need a quarterback, I don't know how McSorley can even be considered in the top. You could get McSorley later.
I think right now, if he were to come out, if he had the season we're all expecting him to have, Penn State make the playoffs potentially, and Trace McSorley says, I'm done in college, I'm going to go to the NFL, I think he would be a third-round, maybe fourth-round quarterback.
I think that's a realistic place for him.
Davis Webb-ish.
I think that's where he should land. I mean, obviously, we saw the Bears go ass backwards and for getting Trubisky, which didn't make any sense, but it was the fact that they did this. I don't know. The NFL with the draft is weird because teams seem to think that they need to get things before they need to get them. I mean, I'm a Giants fan, so I've watched the Giants do this for years as far as reaching for players that they could have gotten a better value out of somebody else. So it's not, I can see it happening. I could totally see that being a possibility. But there's other factors that people should weigh in when you think about how good McSorley is this year. For one, the running back that's behind him.
So good.
The defense that's playing on the other side of the ball for him with his leads. I mean, how much of this is weighing in on him looking better than he is?
Yeah, and we'll get to the Big Ten in a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's going to be my favorite week.
There will be some sad news to report at that time. As one of your favorite players, one of my favorite players, is no longer a Big Ten athlete, and that's Penn State kicker Joey Julius.
Yes, I actually, this is one area where we can get into it later. You will be missed, my man. Keep getting through what you're getting through. You are a joy to watch on the field, and I wish I was able to see more.
Yeah.
It really was. I thought it was great because he defied everything that you would think of a kicker. Not to mention for him to put his story out there. I mean, he's opening you up to a life and hopefully helping other people go through it.
Yeah, hopefully he gets whatever it is that he's looking for from the treatment that he's seeking out. But we're going to avoid all this sadness until next week.
Time out on it.
Yeah, time out on the sadness. We'll get to sadness next week and the week after.
It's on the docket.
All right, so continuing on, we're going to talk about some NBA right now. Kyrie Irving. So, reports came out last week that Kyrie Irving no longer wants to play for the Cleveland Cavaliers because Kyrie Irving no longer wants to play with LeBron James. So, I don't know how you could not want to play with LeBron James, especially because that's almost guaranteed to get you to the NBA Finals. But I understand it. He wants to step out of LeBron's shadow. He wants to be the guy that casts the shadow. And he's certainly talented. He's a number 1 overall draft pick. I don't remember how many years ago. But he's only 25, so it couldn't be more than 7.
Yeah, no, he's young.
Very young. So right now, he hasn't been traded anywhere yet. He said he wants to, quote-unquote, come home and play for the New York Knicks. Yeah. Problem is, what do the Knicks have that they can trade that's not named Kristaps Porzingis?
And that's where they're limited. I mean, if you're the Knicks, you don't want to give away Porzingis. I mean, it seems like to alleviate a lot of problems, whether it be Melo or Porzingis, they did away with Phil Jackson, which was a smart move because Phil made New York more of a circus than New York already is.
He's more like an empty Jackson.
Sure. It's a terrible pun, but sure. That being said, the Knicks don't have a lot to offer. Now, we were talking about this in the last week or two. There are possibilities if the Knicks can involve another team, such as Houston, as you suggested. Maybe move some pieces that could entice us enough to be able to actually make the trade going. I'd love to see Kyrie go to the Knicks. I think the Knicks could really use him. But I also understand Kyrie's desire to leave and want to go somewhere else. I mean, I know where he wants to go, but we don't always get what we want, Kyrie. I hate to tell you that, but I mean, I get why he wants to go. I mean, when he was drafted, he was supposed to be drafted for the face of the Cleveland franchise. When LeBron left, he accepted LeBron coming back. He's won a title with LeBron in the 3 years he's been here. And I mean, I don't know personally, but I can only imagine playing with LeBron has to be taxing mentally.
At least for, 2 more years he's under contract, I heard?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like to me, LeBron seems like he dictates everything in Cleveland.
Yeah.
He might as well be running the whole show.
Probably the mayor.
And that has to be frustrating to another player, because how much do you feel that your opinion or what you have to say or what you do is truly valued when the best player on your team is basically in control of everything?
Especially if you're a star player. Now, as you had said, we've been talking about this, and I came up with a trade, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. This would be a 3-team trade involving the New York Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Houston Rockets. What it would be... what was that?
Wasn't Phoenix in that mix, or they...
Oh, this is the trade I propose.
Oh.
Yeah, this is one that he put through... I believe you put it through a generator.
Yeah, I did. I certainly did. So the Knicks would get Kyrie Irving from Cleveland and Trevor Ariza from Houston. The Rockets would get Carmelo Anthony from the Knicks and Iman Shumpert from Cleveland. And Cleveland would get Ryan Anderson from Houston and Mindaugas Kuzminskis from the Knicks. And they would also get a first-round pick from each team.
It seems plausible. I don't... With LeBron running the show, I almost feel like LeBron's going to want Melo badly enough that he would not allow it to go through. But the trade makes sense. It really does, as far as if you break it down, because that gives Houston a lot of leverage in the West. I mean, you have now, Melo, Harden, and Paul all on the same team. I mean, you have 5 gold medal winning Olympians on your starting lineup. I mean, that Houston almost, I feel, makes out in the deal. Although New York does get a lot of young talent it can continue to build with Porzingis. And they don't at that point, you wouldn't necessarily have to put the rookie into such a large role.
Right, and the one thing that the Rockets get that they could use, Chris Paul is getting older, so he's not going to be on the court for the same amount of time that, say, LeBron would. Iman Shumpert has run point guard for multiple teams.
Yes,
he
that
knows
does
how